As you may or may not know, my wife and I just got back from Vegas. It was a great trip. We ate, we drank, we had a blast. But then we got home and looked at the credit card, and I gotta say, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having, $25 for a drink is a ripoff. Frickin' Vegas. I hate getting ripped off, and so do the lads over at Harry's. They spent years watching the razor blade companies rip people off and said, no more. Not all heroes wear capes, my friends, and they want to prove that they're legit by offering you hot dogs a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. I've been telling you about them for months, and I'm genuinely proud to have Harry's as a sponsor of this show. I wasn't kidding. The plastic, futuristic-looking crap razors you get at the store are overpriced and they're poor quality. Harry's blades are crisp, clean, and classy. They're the kind of razor you'd expect your grandpa to have on his bathroom counter. And most importantly, they work. Shave after shave, they're so smooth, they're precise. I used to go through the crappy store blades all the time, but Harry's are built to last. And they're not just better quality than the other names, they're more affordable. And they deliver. Just set your schedule, and for as little as $2, new blades, shaving creams, lotions, everything you need, right to your door when you need it. I genuinely cannot think of a reason not to try Harry's. And I'm not just saying this because they're sponsors. They're the best shaving supplies I've ever used. Try them out, and if you're not happy, your shave's on them. And unlike the other subscriptions, they're really easy to cancel if you want to too, which is a nice bonus, but believe me, you're not going to want to cancel. Getting ripped off isn't funny. Switch to Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. That's harrys.com/RTG for a $3 trial set. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening. And this week it is episode 103, and we are talking Oregon fucking Trail for the PC, or for old PC, for old ass computers. I don't know exactly what computers it ran on. Those old green screened ones that we all used as kids way back in the day before our backs hurt and we had bills and stuff. This is going to be an interesting episode. My guest is Mr. Mark McHugh, former Remember the Game Hall of Famer. He's returning to the show. And here's the thing. He suggested Oregon Trail. He was really excited about the suggestion. I got very excited about the suggestion based on the reactions of the hint that I posted on social media yesterday. You are all very excited about the idea of Oregon Trail. So I think this is going to be fun. And Mark thinks this is a good enough idea to get him back into the Remember the Game Hall of Fame. So I'm not sold on that yet. He's also suggested another PC game that many of us played in school as children, and he wants to do an episode about that as well, which I think would be fun, but I'm not as sold everybody played it as I am Oregon Trail. So we are going to get into that more at the end of the episode. I've kind of slipped some things around. There's a couple of things coming at the end of the show. We're going to reveal what that other game is, and we are going to decide if we're going to let Mark back into the Hall of Fame. So if you want to know the whole backstory behind that, if you want to know what this other game is, all that good stuff, just hang around at the end of the episode, okay? And I'll go over all that when we get there. Happy Canada Day as I release this. It is July 1st. It is the great country of Canada's birthday, where I was born and raised, and I love this place. And happy 4th of July weekend to all of our American friends next door. I hope you guys stay safe and do all that fun stuff where you shoot off fireworks and drink lots of beer and eat hot dogs and do all that stuff that Americans allegedly do. And I have no idea what the rest of the world celebrates because I'm a very close-minded person who's barely left North America. But wherever you're living, if it's a holiday weekend or something for you, happy Festivus or whatever the fuck it is you're celebrating. And I hope that you have a great day and weekend or whatever as well. Let's get into the podcast. As you guys know, we have a second weekly show called Remember the Game Expansion Pass, which goes live every Sunday, and it's 100% exclusive to our Patreon supporters. And you can get access to all of our previous episodes. There are over 30 of them now, and all of our future episodes by supporting us over on patreon.com/rememberthegame. We're only asking for $2 a month. It's very cheap. It's like 40 or 50 cents a week. Just like our newest Patreons, Aaron Kupal, I hope I said that right, Aaron, and Dan T have done. Thank you guys so much. Welcome to the team. Thank you very much for the support. And not only do you get access to Expansion Pass and a shout out just like those guys got, you get to submit questions and comments for the show. I'll chat with everyone that wants to talk with me on there. I try to interact with everybody as much as I can. And you get to suggest games for and vote in our monthly polls, because every month our Patreons pick one of the games we're going to cover on the podcast. And as you guys hear this, our July poll just went live. It'll be running until July 8th. And the options for this month, as suggested by you folks, are Kid Icarus for the NES, Super Star Wars for the Super Nintendo, Crash Team Racing for the PlayStation 1, Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis, Advance Wars for the Game Boy Advance, and Pokemon Emerald for the Game Boy Advance. Those are all games that I haven't played that you guys have asked for, so I will play through the winter and give you an episode about it next month. Little bit of an asterisk. I recently went under the hood on my Super Nintendo and added some GBA games, so I'm praying those ROMs work. A test run of them seems to work, so I think we're okay, but I'm just putting it out there just in case. So again, only $2 a month, patreon.com/rememberthegame. It's very easy. You can download all the extra episodes onto your phone just like you do with the regular show right now. You get to vote in that poll. It'll be running till July 8th, so get in there. Your support really helps me out. It makes the show possible. Our Patreon money goes to support growing the show with advertising and equipment and the new website and all that good stuff, blah, 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 blah. Quickly on the advertising front, I have a new idea for, I think it's a pretty cool idea for an ad, and I am working on it, but I'm a little bit reluctant to drop it on Facebook and stuff right now, because if you don't know, basically the entire world is boycotting Facebook until they get their shit together. So, which I'm all for, because Zuckerberg sucks and Facebook kind of sucks. So, I mean, if Coca-Cola can do it and Apple can do it and all these giant brands can do it, well, Remember the Game is fucking right there with them. So eventually the ad will show up. So we'll see when it pops up. Quickly too, last week's Expansion Pass was our monthly Q&A episode. We do one of those every month. And this Sunday, I had two ideas, but I think what I'm going to do is look back on the first half of 2020, because as shitty as real life has been, it has been a phenomenal year to be a gamer. Between the fact that we're all stuck at home just playing video games and the fact that there's just been games out the ass that have been great so far, with a ton more coming. I'm going to go over the news. I'm going to go over the best games I've played so far, my Game of the Year contenders, some of the stuff I'm excited about the rest of the way. I will get into all yours as well. It's going to be a look back at the first half of 2020. That'll be this Sunday on Expansion Pass. There's your plug. I won't talk about it anymore. I've been kicking tires at doing something new with our YouTube channel too, because we're getting a lot of subscribers over there. We're up over, I think we picked up 30 or 40 subscribers this month. And I don't really post much on it beside episodes of the show and then the occasional episode of Adam Sucks at Video Games, which is our Let's Play series. And so one of the things I've been thinking about posting over there is a news show, just quite quick 5 to 10 minute videos breaking down some of the news in gaming whenever there is news. But I'm not sure. They're a lot of work. I don't know if they'll matter, if people will watch, if it'll help grow the show at all, but it is also something I'd be interested in learning how to do. So I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in. Let me know. They just be short, quick. If you guys watch those, because I do. I watch a couple of people for news right now. And I don't know, maybe this is going to sound incredibly arrogant. I'm sure half of the listeners of this podcast are thinking this about me right now, but I watch some of these videos and I think I could do it better than that. So, put my money where my mouth is. Maybe that's something I'll look at. We'll see. I just have a lot of time on my hands right now until comedy gets back to normal. So we'll see. Speaking of the news, let's get into that, because that's what I like to do before we get into the game we're talking about. Oh yeah, quick, if you want to skip all this, I should have told you this about 7 minutes ago. You can look in the description box. There's a timestamp to tell you what to go to if all you're here for is Oregon Trail. It seems like we can't go more than a few days without hearing something about Cyberpunk 2077. And I guess if by chance you don't know, Cyberpunk has been the most anticipated game of 2020 since about 2017. It's made by Project CD Red, which are the same people behind the beloved Witcher series, most particularly Witcher 3. I have no idea about the other two games because I never played them. But it's like steampunk, and it's like a futuristic city game, and it's It looks pretty rad. Like Google, literally, you don't have to Google Cyberpunk. Literally type Google or Cyber into Google, and it'll be all over your computer, and you can see anything you want to see about it. And admittedly, I thought that the hype for this game was ridiculous. It's not that I wasn't excited about it. I just was like, why is everybody talking about this game? But the more I go back to playing Witcher 3 and just the amount of polish and the quality of that game, the depth, and the more info that comes out about Cyberpunk, the more excited I am. Like, this game looks fucking rad. It has climbed the list now that I have Last of Us 2 in my hands to the top of my anticipated games for the rest of the year. It looks rad. And it's been delayed again. Originally it was coming out on April 16th, then that got delayed to September 17th, and now it is coming out November 19th, which I think I said a couple weeks ago on the show. It still falls right in that Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5 launch window, and I still think something's coming with that. There's no way it won't be on Xbox One and PS4, but it might be a launch title for those new systems as well. And I've said it all along, I have no problem with the delay. Fuck, no problem at all. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, there is a ton to play this summer. So I'm in no hurry. I'll catch up on some of the other stuff. Number two, the hype around this game is insane. Wait, get it right. If you fuck it up, we're going to have another No Man's Sky release on our hands where the hype is through the roof and then it just completely bombs and falls short of the expectations. And Shigeru Miyamoto has a famous saying. I've talked about it on here before, and I should have Googled it so I'd get the saying right, but I didn't do that because I don't know what I'm doing. Basically, what he said is that you can, a delayed game can be good, but a bad game is bad forever. And Cyberpunk, dude, like, you just, fuck yeah. I feel like this about any game. It doesn't matter how excited I am for a game. Last of Us 2 was as excited as I've been for a game since probably Mario Odyssey. And I was like, dude, delay it as much as you have to delay it to get it right. I don't care. I'm a big boy. I'm patient. I will wait. And I think that CD Projekt Red is doing this right. If they have any issues with it at all, take your time, fucking get it right. The reason I'm bringing Cyberpunk up a couple weeks after the delay announcement, because that came out a couple weeks ago, is because last week we got a new look at it. They released a 25 or so minute video breaking down some of the game and stuff like that. It's called New City Wire. You can Google it. You can find it anywhere. And Jesus, this game looks good, you guys. If it's Witcher 3 quality, but in that setting, game of the year, it's going to be game of the year by a mile. It's going to be one of the greatest video games ever made. So the hype is real, but it looks like the product is real. And I think all of us collectively in the gaming world should just be saying a little prayer that nothing goes wrong with Cyberpunk 2077. I have a feeling it's going to do to Fallout what Witcher 3 did to Skyrim, and that's make them look and feel old and outdated. Although I still want Fallout 3 on the Switch very, very badly. So just for the record, if you're listening to that, anyone involved with the decision making, please put Fallout 3 on the Switch. But like I said, there's lots to play between now and November 19th when we get our hands on Cyberpunk. I tweeted it the other day. My 5 most anticipated games for the rest of 2020 are, in order, Cyberpunk 2077, Crash Bandicoot 4, Paper Mario, The Origami King, Halo Infinite, and the Tony Hawk remakes. Those are my 5 most anticipated games the rest of the way. Plus, there's Pokemon Snap, Ghost of Tsushima, Gears Tactics, all those rumored Mario remakes like Mario 64, Galaxy, stuff like that, PGA 2K21, the Miles Morales Spider-Man expansion, DLC, whatever the fuck it is, and who knows what else is coming. All this while we're trying to save money for new consoles in the fall. There's so much coming out. Everyone's excited about different games. It's exciting. It's one of the best times. Like, I can't... Dude, fuck, when was the last time gaming was this exciting, just with all the shit that's coming up, and it seems like we're getting new news about something every week, and just, I'm not wishing ill will toward E3, but I love the idea of just every morning I wake up and maybe there's new gaming news. It's the funnest, it's like Christmas morning every day, except it's not Christmas morning, it's like fucking December 10th, and we're being told, oh yeah, in a little while, then you can have the presents, so, but yeah, everyone's excited about different games, and that is going to bring us to our newest segment here at Remember the Game, which is Letter Time. It's Letter Time. Every week, our Patreons can submit their thoughts and concerns about the gaming news and whatever's going on in the world of video games. And this week, Patreon Dan T wrote in, and Dan said, I'm one of probably 3 people worldwide who is overly excited for Deadly Premonition 2 to launch in July. For those who haven't had the pleasure of experiencing the sublime train wreck of these games, it's an open-world crime investigation, survival horror, third-person shooter, and yes, it's as batshit crazy as it sounds. Outside of that, I'm cautiously optimistic about Crash 4. I just hope that they don't do their usual routine of pumping it full of microtransactions post-launch as Activision normally does. And this is something that I wanted to weigh in on as well, because I'm also very, very excited for Crash Bandicoot 4. Now, listen, okay, and they literally, a news story broke between a tweet between the time I wrote these notes and the time I sat down to record. So I'm going to tell you what I thought, then I'm going to tell you what the tweet said. So I'm a little nervous about microtransactions in Crash 4 as well, because there's some leak somewhere that's already said it's going to involve in-game purchases or something. And if that turns out to be just different costumes and stuff like that, I don't really care. Like, make your money. Nobody needs to make Crash Bandicoot dress up like Donald Trump to enjoy the game and pay $3 for that skin. Like, no one's going to freak out about that. On that note, I would love to see like a Crash Bandicoot ad in the style of the old ones, where it's just the guy in the giant costume with the megaphone, but just standing outside of the White House talking shit to Trump. Oh, fuck. I would buy. Oh, that'd be so sick. But anyway, like if they put levels or power-ups or anything like that, playable characters behind microtransactions, that's going to fucking suck, because it's already a full-price game. And I can't believe how many people are upset that Crash Bandicoot 4 is going to be a full-price game before we know anything about it. For all you know, this is a 20 or 30-hour game, right? And it's going to be on sale in no time, for sure. But just before you fucking get upset about how much it costs, let's just wait and see, okay? Because here's the thing. I didn't play any of those weird Crash games after the original 3 and the remakes. Like, there was a whole bunch of them on like Game Boy or DS or fucking I don't know. All I've played are the original 3 Crashes and then the remakes of the 3 Crashes. I think a lot of people are in the same boat. Everyone that likes those games is fucking excited about this game. Please don't blow it. Just release your game, make your money, make us happy, and don't fuck us all over with microtransactions, okay? Lots of people like Crash, but it's also fucking Crash Bandicoot. Like, I don't know how many people are willing to pay more than $60 to play Crash Bandicoot. Now, having said that, that was the original notes that I wrote in response to Dan's comments. Then Toys for Bob, who is the video game studio behind Crash Bandicoot right now, developing the game, literally, they tweeted 2 hours ago, "We're seeing confusion about microtransactions in Crash Bandicoot 4, and we want to be crystal clear. There are no microtransactions in Crash 4. As a bonus, the totally tubular skins are included in all digital versions of the game." So I don't know what the fuck is going to happen with this thing, but like, the people that are literally designing this game have come out and said we're not going to see microtransactions. So hopefully all that fear that Dan and I just expressed is for nothing, and we just get a quality game at a quality price and we play it and we're all happy and la 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 la. And Dan, for the record, I'm sure someone else on the planet is excited about Deadly Premonition 2. I just don't know who it is. No, I'm fucking with you. I'm going to look it up. That sounds rad, so I'll look it up. I'll see what's all. I haven't never even heard of it other than you mentioning it, so I'm going to look it up, see what it's all about. Quickly, you guys, check out Dan's band, Vertical Noise. You can find them on any music like streaming thing, Spotify, Apple, whatever. It's punk music. It's pretty good. I actually listened to a few of their songs, and I'm not just saying that. I like punk music, and I really enjoyed it, so check that out. And then just quickly on the news here, as I was typing these notes up this morning, drinking my coffee, my pal Chris sent me a link, and it was to a story about the Mega SD cartridge for the Sega Genesis. Google it, Mega SD. It's a cartridge you put in your original Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, and it's like a flash drive that you can add Master System, Genesis, and Sega CD games to. You can even rip them right off the disc and put them on this cartridge, and we all have Sega CD games just lying around we're not doing anything with. And then you just pop this cartridge into your Genesis, and you can play all the games. Apparently, it improves the load times and stuff like that, too. That's a pretty cool idea. Like, when I was reading it, I was like, I don't care. I don't have a Sega Genesis. I don't have CD games, but that's a cool concept. Except it's $260 or something like that, which is fucking insane. My pal Chris, the guy that sent me the link, said it best. He's like, for half the price of a PlayStation 5, you can play Sega CD a little bit easier if you have a Genesis and a TV to hook it up to, and you can find the games. And like, like, seriously, I do think it's a cool concept. I'm not going to fucking buy one, but I do think there's a very niche market for it. I hate clutter. And like, I'll be honest with you, if I did collect and had Sega CD games and a Genesis, I'd consider $260 a fucking lot of money. But if it was cheaper, I would consider this thing, man. Because if I could just add all my games to it, leave it plugged into my Sega like a cartridge, and then I don't have to deal with the discs, the cartridges, and that abomination of a Sega Genesis when it's fully evolved and has all of its parts, like Megatron style. It's a really cool idea, so I want to see if it's successful at all. But look it up. If you're at all interested, just search Mega SD. You can find information about it. So, Chris, thanks for passing that on. And that is long enough. I'm going to get into what I've been playing, and then we're going to talk Oregon Trail. What have I been playing over the last 7 days? Mostly Final Fantasy 1 on the NES and Last of Us 2 on my PS4. I think I'm getting pretty close to the end of Last of Us. I am so expect a review / spoiler cast episode of Expansion Pass sometime in the next couple of weeks. Probably, obviously not this weekend, maybe next weekend or the weekend after, depending on when I'm done it. I did that for the Final Fantasy VII remake too. You guys seem to really like it. If you haven't played the game, the first half of the episode is 100% spoiler free, just a review of it. Then I give you a ton of warning before I go into any spoilers, so I won't ruin the game for you. I'm really liking it. I don't know how close I am to the end, and I'm afraid. Dude, I have literally been afraid to fucking tweet about what I like about Last of Us and hashtag it or anything because I don't want anyone sending me any more spoilers than I've already seen. So, but anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Really enjoying it. And then Final Fantasy 1 won the June Patreon poll, so I have to play it to do an episode about it in July. And everyone was telling me, play a more modern version, emulate it, do something where you can use fast forward. And I insisted on going traditional with it, playing it on my NES Classic the way it was meant to be played, other than with save states, because that way I don't have to worry about saving, traditionally the old ways. And it's been very relaxing, particularly after a long session of Last of Us where I'm fucking just wired and been fighting zombies in the dark for half an hour, for 2 hours. I just hop into this relaxed game. I've been catching up on podcasts. I've been grinding. Fuck, is it slow? You guys were right. I do like it though. I would have loved it as a kid. So that episode will drop later this month. That's most of what I've been playing. Good enough. Long enough. Let's get into episode 103, which is Oregon Trail for old ass computers, whatever it plays on. Like I said, you guys, Mark McHugh suggested this. All of you seem really excited based on the reactions to the hints I posted yesterday. So let's all go back to elementary school. Should have looked this up. I don't know if this game has music, but if it does, I'm going to cue some music. And if it doesn't have music, then I'll put some other music in there. And we're going to talk about Oregon Trail, which originally released on the Apple II. I don't even know what that, I guess it's a computer, in 1985. Kick back, relax, you guys. Let's talk Oregon Trail. Here we go. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows about our illustrious CEO, my dog Molly. But the other silent partner behind the scenes is my wife. And let me tell you, my friends, a 17-year relationship with another person that has to talk to and live with you is a lot harder to maintain than one with a dog. We've had our ups and downs, and as you all know, a relationship isn't all sunshine and rainbows. They can be a lot of work. You get out what you put in when it comes to relationships, and talking to a therapist can be a fantastic way to put in some work. They can help you work through your issues, learn to communicate better, and even just provide you with an ear to bend when you need it. I've talked to my therapist about my relationships, especially when it came to my stand-up comedy career and how much I was away from home, and they helped me work on ways to keep my relationship strong even when I was out on the road. It turned out our relationship was actually better when I was out on the road, but that's a story for another day. And I know, right? Therapy. Who has the time these days? BetterHelp hears you, and they're making it easy. Fill out a quick form online, and they'll match you up with a therapist that suits your needs and that'll work around your schedule. You pick the meet times, and you can get your therapy fix from anywhere, over video, phone, or just chat. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/RememberTheGame today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/RememberTheGame. Okay, so joining me via the telephone device once again, back here on Remember the Game, is former Remember the Game Hall of Famer and good friend of mine, Mark McHugh. How's life, buddy? How's quarantine treating you?
One day I'll get back into that Hall of Fame, Adam.
Yeah, so that's okay. So before we get into the game this week, which is, you'll know from the intro and everything, is Oregon Trail, If you're new to the show, because I know we've picked up a lot of listeners in the last month or two, just quickly, Mark is a very good friend of mine. He's a fellow comedian. We both live here in Edmonton. I would consider Mark one of my better friends, particularly in the stand-up comedy world. And Mark is the guy who has appeared on more episodes of this show than any other guest in the history of Remember the Game. And for a long
shit, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I added them up for episode 100, and yeah, you're pretty far ahead of everybody else.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing else to fucking do right now, so let's talk video games. So Mark was in the Hall of Fame. We don't officially have a Hall of Fame, but I would always say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Remember the Game Hall of Fame, Mark McHugh. And then in the 80 or 90 episodes, Mark suggested that we talk about Mario is Missing. On episode 88, which was a Super Nintendo
Great
educational
soundtrack.
game. It is a good soundtrack, but everything else about that game is steaming garbage. And I got so angry talking about that game and the memories it brought back from my childhood that I banned Mark from the Hall of Fame. I said he's kicked out and he'll never
Not
be
from the
allowed
show,
back in.
Just from the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he can still come on the show. I need him. But he's never going back in the Hall of Fame. So since then, I've introduced him as former Remember the Game Hall of Famer Mark McHugh. Now, with all that said, you guys, he got kicked out for suggesting a game as bad as Mario is Missing. He's the one that suggested that we talk about Oregon Trail. And I don't know how this...
If you're about to be throwing shade on Oregon Trail...
okay. This game's not that good. I just replayed it.
Yeah, no, you know what? It really isn't.
No, but it's a wicked idea. When you suggested this game, I was so excited. And I know a lot of people grew up playing this game. I don't know how good this episode is actually going to be because I don't know if we've ever talked about a game with less meat on the bone than Oregon Trail. But
it's basically a text-based game.
It's a air quote educational text-based game.
But here's the exciting thing about this game. This was the first video game that any of us ever got to play at school.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where I think the good memories come in from it. So we are going to spend the next...
school sucks, but we're playing video games right now, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, now we're playing a video game, so it's good for half an hour. So we're probably going to spend the next 25, 30 minutes talking about Oregon Trail. When this episode goes live, you guys, I'm probably going to put a poll on our social media either that day or the day afterwards. And there's going to be two polls, and one we're going to get to in a couple at the end of the episode. And the other poll is going to be, should Mark be allowed back into the Hall of Fame for suggesting Oregon Trail? Because I think this is such a great idea for this episode, for this show. I never would have thought of this game on my own. But I also am still very mad about Mario is Missing. So when you're done listening to this episode, go check out our social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Member the Game. Vote in the poll. We have to make this decision once and for all. Does Mark get back into the Hall of Fame, or is he the Pete Rose of our video game podcast? And if you don't know who that is, he's not allowed in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Look him up.
You know what? I have great confidence in your followers.
Dude, they like you. I don't get it, but they every time you're on the show.
Good to hear from one of your friends. People like you. I don't know what it is.
I don't know why.
I don't see it myself. But
they like you.
People are all right with you.
So with that said, check those out, but you can do that in a little while. Let's talk Oregon Trail first. So like you said, Mark, I played this game about 24 hours ago for the first time since probably grade 5, and that was like the fucking early 90s. This game kind of sucks, but is there anyone that doesn't have good memories of playing Oregon Trail in school? Like, if you played it in school, you have good memories of playing it in school, right?
It was like I could listen to my teacher talk about whatever the fuck she's going on about, or you could try to teach us about the Oregon Trail and the hardships of the 1800s through video games. It's like, all right, let's do the video game thing.
Yeah.
After we go munch some numbers.
Now I'm going to, Number Munchers, there's not enough meat on that bone to do an episode about. But Number Munchers was fucking awesome. I love that game.
It was math with a frog.
Number Munchers would make a great mobile game. So would Oregon Trail. But now here's, maybe
you know
it
what?
is.
There is I tried to find a mobile version of this game to research this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There's websites where you can play it for free.
Yeah.
But there's one app and it's updated new Oregon Trail, and I'm like, I don't want to see what they've done with this since then.
No, the remakes are getting out of hand. We don't need a remake of Oregon Trail. We need the original Oregon Trail. Now, here's my first... I don't even want to call it a problem because I don't fucking care about it enough to make it a problem. This is supposed to be an educational game to teach us about what the pioneers and what our ancestors went through, I guess, right? Or something like that. And this is going to make me look like a fucking idiot because I'm 36 years old. Until 24 hours ago, when I started researching this game for the show, I had no idea this was a real trail. I had no fucking idea this was a real thing. Apparently it is. And the game, which is supposed to be educational, which is why we played it at school, is supposed to be teaching us this stuff. But I played this game for years and had no fucking idea any of this actually existed. So it did not
you thought that they just created the world's most boring fantasy world?
Yes. I thought, I knew that, obviously, people back in the old days had to get around in fucking carts pulled by oxes and stuff. I get that, there was hard times getting across the country back when there wasn't fucking freeways and gas-powered cars. It's not that I totally get all that, but I had no idea that these were actual, this was, actual places and the actual stops on the map were, actual real I had no fucking clue. And if any of you are sitting there laughing and listening to me right now, I don't even give a fuck. Laugh at me. I don't fucking care. I'm good at math. I wasn't good at geography or history. I don't know what the fuck any of this stuff is. But apparently this is based on a true story. I don't know. There's got to be somebody else. Did you know? And I'm not gonna be mad. But did you know that all this was real?
I knew that. I suspected it was real. I wasn't going to do the homework to confirm it, though.
Okay, so same thing. It's an educational game, and they're like, hey, you should use this to open the door to read more about history. And you were like, yeah, that probably really exists. And you're like, I'm not going to look that up though. So it didn't do it for you either.
What's my score? Give me my score, bitch. I don't care.
Yeah. So on that note, then, is this the best educational game of all time because it was actually kind of fun, or is it the worst educational game of all time because you didn't even learn anything?
I would even say that. Do you remember Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? That was a banger of a game.
I never played the game, but I fucking adored that TV show.
Yeah, it was a sick TV show. I don't know if it was a TV show or a game first.
Yeah, I don't either, actually. But doesn't matter.
But, my point is, the game, you're right, Oregon Trail, I didn't retain any of the information that I got from it, other than sometimes in the old days they had carts pulled by oxes. Yeah. And sometimes there was a farmer that would die of dysentery.
Ah, dude. Okay. Yeah. So with that said, because I wanted to get into the game, but you mentioned this during the intro of our conversation. When I was playing this, because I was playing this and I was playing Dino Park Tycoon, which we'll talk about at the end of the episode. Dino Park Tycoon is still a lot of fun. This game, I played through it once while I was drinking my coffee. Took 20 minutes. I made it. We made it to Oregon, I guess. I don't know where the trail actually ends, but we made it there. But I was like, this really isn't that fun. And I really think a majority of the reason it was fun was because it was just the fact that you were playing something at school. If I had this game on my NES at home and it was you could play Super Mario 3, or you could play The Legend of Zelda, or you could play Batman, or you could play Oregon Trail. Now I'm not ever going to fucking play this. Ever. Ever.
Yeah, because look, for the time, and this is the thing that we have to say about a lot of these old games. For the time, it was a very interesting idea because I think they started working on this game. I think it was originally not a video game, but a board, a text-based game of some sort. I think the original, when they started working on it, was 1977 or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And the mech version that we've all played was a reimagining and a remastering of all of that. So
yeah,
Oregon Trail was the original HD remake.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just but the thing is I really do remember it being fun. When you suggested it, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that game was the best. And I've posted about what?
because we have options of what games we can play now. Like, that does take a lot of the spice out of things.
Yeah.
When you had to play Oregon Trail, and it was like this, like right after listening to your your teacher talk about like Shakespeare for 2.5 hours, you're like, fuck, yeah, sure, a video game that tries to teach me something. Fuck it. I don't want to hear another word about William Shakespeare.
It's just such a, like, of all the things that you could have picked, that like they were teaching us about this, and then we got to play a video game. Shakespeare. I don't think I ever learned about fucking Shakespeare, especially not in grade 4. In grade 4, they were like, it was like, now we're gonna learn multiplication. Apparently in British Columbia,
in elementary school.
What's that?
I don't remember anything I've learned about from elementary.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that show. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Wouldn't go on it because no, I'm not.
No, dude, I've thought that too. I mean, I remember watching that show and being like, no fucking chance. Those kids would feed me my ass. I would go on that fucking show. Although, you know what? I'd like, let me play fucking Oregon Trail against those kids, and then we'll fucking see.
Those kids aren't smarter than you. They just heard the information more recently.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wanted a fair, are you smarter than a fifth grade? You should present them with moral dilemmas.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, what if your in-laws ask to borrow money? What do you do then? You're like, oh fuck, what are you gonna do now, you little bitch?
Yeah, or bring the little shits.
How valuable is your information about John Cabot now, fucker?
You know what would be a really cool fucking show is in like another 10 years, bring back the kids that were on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader and make them answer the same fucking questions. And just be like, do you still remember who the 32nd president of the United States of America was? Because I don't know. Anyway, so we were talking about Oregon Trail. So I do think, because I'll tell you, man, when I posted online, like, does anyone remember these games? I asked on Reddit, does anyone remember any of these games? And everyone was like, well, yeah, Oregon Trail. We all played it. I was just reading that it's like one of the, like, it sold like 65 million copies worldwide. It's in the Video Game Hall of Fame. Like, it's a big deal. And everybody that grew up in the fucking early 90s, like, everybody fucking played this game. It just like it. I don't even want to say that it sucks, because I get that they were working with like a limited thing, and by an educational standard, it's kind of fun. It's where I think it sucks is it's just cheap. It's a fucking cheap game, which sounds stupid about an educational game. That sounds like something you'd say about Battletoads. Not a fucking educational game, but this game just fucking kills you and there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, the idea is like, oh, you're supposed to have stocked the right supplies and like picked the right people for the job. But yeah, then in the middle of it, it'll be like a bunch of bandits stole shit from your cart. What are you going to do? And you're like, well, but I was planning for them to not do that. Yeah.
Like when you start the game, you get to pick, like, if you want to be, I don't know, like a banker, like a farmer, I don't know, you get to pick 2 or 3 occupations, and like some of the occupations, they're more handy, but they have less money to spend on supplies, whereas like the shitty banker has all the money, but he can't fix anything or something like that. So I was like, all right, well,
choose your name too.
Yeah.
I like that. So I was Wiener every single time.
Oh, you get to name the whole party. I'm going to post the screenshot as the hint for this episode. So what are the first names of the other 4 members of your party? So number 1 is me, which is Hoju. And then you have a boy, according to the picture here, you have a little boy, 2 little girls, and a wife. And so it's Hoju, Hoju Jr., Hojette, Hojina, and Karen. And that's the names of my family. So you like...
I think Hojette was the best one.
Yeah, I like Hojette. So you name your team, and then it makes you buy supplies, but it doesn't really do a great job of explaining what the supplies do. And you have to buy ox to pull the wagon, clothes for your team, food for your team, bullets to go hunting with, which fucking sucks. And we'll get into that in a minute. And then spare parts for your wagon. But then he suggests, like, when you go in to buy ox, he's like, they come in sets of 2. I recommend buying at least 3 sets. So then I buy like 3. And by the time I buy all the shit that he suggested that I buy, I don't have enough money. And I'm like, you're just a fucking salesman. You're not trying to keep me alive. You're just trying to sell all your stock to me before I go off and die on this fucking field somewhere.
I mean, and then when we get to the issue of the hunting, it was the only part of the game that made it actually feel like a game.
Yeah, and it fucking sucks. So I want to get into that because to me that's the most complex thing in this whole game. You buy ox and they pull your thing and eventually they die and whatever. And you have to buy clothes, whatever. You buy spare parts for your wagon because eventually your wagon breaks and you need the spare parts, whatever. But the food,
and then people keep breaking their arms.
And getting fucking weird diseases and stuff. But you buy food and you can hunt while you're out, and then if you kill any animals, then you get more food. And then we're gonna get into the hunting because you're right. That's the only part that actually feels like a game. But the fucking buying food, Mark. I know that you were talking about it. Did you replay this in the last week or so? Getting ready for this at all?
I played it about a month ago when we first suggested it.
Okay, so when you go to buy food. I'm a 36-year-old man who actually considers himself fairly good at math. Like, of all the main subjects, math is probably the one I'm best at. And I'm reading this fucking screen, and the guy's like, make sure you buy enough food for your trip. Our food consists of sugar, flour, beans, blah, 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 blah. It's 20 cents per pound. I suggest buying so many pounds per person for the trip. How many pounds of food do you want to buy? So then I'm like, okay, well, I have 5 people in my group, and he suggested that I need 100 pounds of food per person, but it's 20 cents per pound. So how many pounds do I get per? And I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. And so I'm just punching in random numbers. And then it's like, oh, you're broke because you spent all your money on food. You haven't bought any ox to pull the wagon yet. And I'm like, well, you told me to.
You told me to do that.
What the fuck? It's like one of those stupid math equations where they're like 4 people get on the train, but 2 people got off. The train's going 15 miles an hour into the wind uphill at a 27-degree. And I was like,
And they need to have enough money left to buy an ox.
Yeah, and at this point, when I was playing this game as a kid, I was like 7 years old, and I was like, I don't know. Like, how the fuck was this teaching me anything? So anyway.
I think what it was teaching us is that if us as 7-year-olds were left to our own devices, we would die.
Yeah, apparently that's what it is.
That's the main point they're trying to get across to us.
You know what that game taught me as a kid is that my mom and dad are lying when they say they don't have any money because food's not expensive. It's 20 cents a pound. So the next time I want a video game, you have the money because the food was only 20 cents. So, but yeah, so like you said, you can buy bullets, and then at any point, like anytime you stop anywhere, if you want to, you can go hunting. And then it loads up like this separate little game where you control this like little guy, and you hit enter, and then he starts walking in whatever direction he's facing, and then you hit enter again to stop. And you can see arrows to turn him. But there's like rocks and trees in the middle of like a black sheet, but you can't really go into the rocks or trees because if you do, it's like you can't walk past it. Do you know what I mean? Like you get fucking stuck. It's so, I get that it's an educational game on a cheap computer, but it's so crappy, Mark.
Here's the thing, video games had been around, like, when was this version of this game released? I'd say, like
85, I think?
Early 90s?
Yeah.
85?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, video games had been a thing for a while. There was no excuse for how bad this one function was.
No, Space Invaders existed for a long time before this, and Space Invaders is an infinitely better shooter than the hunting in Oregon Trail.
Dude.
And where the fuck are they going that, like, you'll just be, like, walking around kind of randomly, just hitting the space bar, shooting bullets, and then just like, oh, here comes a bunny, and then it randomly moves around and then leaves, and it's like, oh, here comes a bear. I think, oh, here comes a deer. And it, like, one shot, if you just happen to hit it, you kill it, and you get, like, all these pounds of food. If you can just happen to hit one of these things.
And, like, but the thing is, it was hard to hit them.
It was impossible to fucking hit them.
It was like, why would I even buy bullets?
Right? Why am I going to spend money on bullets? And there's a gamer tip for all the people that were going to go out and try this game afterwards, because you can find it free online. Don't spend any money on bullets. Spend it all on food, because food's only 20 cents a pound. It's way cheaper than fucking bullets. And then if you want to go hunting, then you got to just stop and go hunting in the middle of the darkness and try to hit a bear that they don't even look at you. They walk around smiling, and then when you shoot them, they're still smiling, but they go upside down. And then suddenly you have all this food.
The smile was the weirdest part.
What's that?
The smile was the weirdest.
It's creepy. And just at random times you come across bushes covered in fruit, and then you get a bunch of food that way. Like, cause that's not fuck this fucking game. Cause that's another thing. It's just random shit all the time. That's what makes it so cheap, Mark. Is it's just your guys are just walking along in their fucking trailer, and then I get to like, oh, a wheel just broke. You've got to decide if you want to fix it. But like you said, oh, here comes a thief, and he stole 35. A thief stole 35 pounds of my food, and I was like, how the fuck did he run off to the middle of nowhere with 35 pounds of food?
I remember beating this game as a kid, and I don't know how I did it. I think it's you just fling a party into chaos and hope they live.
It's designed to kill you. Fucking my team, like near the beginning of the game, it's fine because you go from like landmark to landmark. And here's another thing that I didn't realize. When you get to a landmark, it says, do you want to look around? And you can choose yes or no. And the first couple times I chose yes. And then you see like this shitty fucking 2-bit pixel picture of like a fort or a forest or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, that's okay. Like, so the third or fourth time I got to a place, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to look around. I don't fucking care. So I hit no. If you don't look at their stupid picture, then it doesn't give you the option to buy stuff or trade with people at these posts like it does the other ones. You just keep on going. And I was like, I was out of food and was just like, well, I don't really want to look at the dumb picture. But then because I said no and refused to look at the photo, they're like, oh yeah, then you better go hunting. And it just fucking kicked me on the road again. And I was like, Hojette is fucking starving. Karen's got Malaysia or something, some fucking disease. I don't think Malaysia's a disease. I think it's a place. But you get what I'm trying to say. And it's like, she's like, my team is dying.
You were trying to say malaria.
That's the one. It's like, so see, it's not math. I don't know. So it's like, so we have no food. Now we're in the middle of nowhere. And then they were like, oh, one of your ox just died. And then it was like, and then literally one step later, it was like, oh, fucking Hoju Jr. got lost, lose 2 days. And he was like, we've been looking for that kid for 2 days. Fuck him. Like, let him go hunt.
Dinner now.
Yeah. One of these smiling bears ate him. I don't have 2 days. Like, I don't have any food to sit here for 2 days. And then it's like, oh, you got lost in the fog, lose 6 days. And it just keeps throwing random shit at you. And you know what it reminded me of, Mark? Do you remember The Simpsons when Homer needed to take his chauffeur license test? And Patty and Selma are just throwing random penalties at him for no reason. And then he starts throwing them back. That's exactly what Oregon Trail does. It was like, didn't buy any food, minus 10 points for you. And it just fucking, it's just one thing after another. And then fucking, you come up to rivers. And it's like, how do you want to try to cross the river? And it's telling you this river is 34 feet long and approximately 4 feet deep. How do you want to proceed? And I'm like, am I supposed to sit here and draw this? And, and just be like,
Can
okay.
We just say don't? Can we turn around and go home? Is
yeah.
that an option?
Why did we leave the first fort? It was safe.
Where are we going and why?
Oh. And then you can like when you get to the water, it's like, how do you want to proceed? And the options are like just go, seal up the wagon and float across, take the ferry, will cost you 2 days. And there's one where it literally it says ask the Indian for help.
Oh wow.
That's
the era that this came out.
Right. And I'm not making light of that, but it was just like he's not. If I was him, I'd be like, "Fuck you, do it yourself." Why am I gonna fucking help you? Get away from me. And there's no rhyme or reason to why you would do any of these things. Nothing explains what you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to go. And the game is just literally designed to fucking kill you before you reach Oregon. That's all, or wherever the fuck is you're going.
So often you'd be like, fuck, I don't want to lose 2 days. Fuck it, let's just go. And then it will show you your wagon being like swept down the river. And it's like, well, fuck off.
Yeah, you're the one that said I only had two, I only have so much time. Because that's another thing. You could pick what month you leave. And you're supposed to be strategically picking the month you leave so that you can get there before it's too cold. Because I know we're walking and they're like, it's very dry. That would just pop up. It's very dry. There's no grass for your ox. It's very dry. And I'm like, why the fuck are you telling me this? I can't fix it. I can't do anything about this. He's not getting any of my fucking food.
Just little notifications like that, oh, it's dry. And it's like, fucking thanks.
Yeah. Or it pops up and just says that, yeah, like someone in your group has got fucking these weird diseases and you don't have any medicine or anything to fucking help. And I'm like, how? Like,
But
there's no
if
strategy.
you could choose your profession. You could choose your profession. If you were like a banker, you got more money. If you were a doctor, you can deal with shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Because I took the banker for all the money and then spent it all on food.
Yeah, dude, the banker is always the smart way to go.
Yeah, yeah, fuck yeah. Like it's money fixes everything. It's who needs to be fuck. Stupid game. And then you fucking you stop at like random places. And sometimes you can buy food and sometimes you can't. And then it always offers you to trade with the locals. And then if you pick it, sometimes there's nobody wants to trade with you. That's all it says. But then other times it just randomly picks 2 resources and offers them. And somebody was like, I swear to God, one of the stops I made was like, so and so is looking for an ox and is willing to trade a set of clothes. And I was like, oh, is that right? Well, it better come with a hand job or something because I'm not giving you.
That's a lot. You're asking for a large animal in exchange for a shirt. You need to be more. You need to sweeten this pot a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, I could kill my ox and skin him and have 150 pounds of food and make some clothes.
Can you do that?
No. Well, I'm just and if I wasn't a stupid banker, maybe I fucking could, but it just throws random crap at you like for the whole game, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, oh, you got lost in the fog.
There's nothing you can do to prepare for it because it'll be like, oh, your wheel's broken. It's like, well, glad somebody stole my spare parts a while back.
Yeah, right. And there's no way to get more money. At least not that I could find. Maybe I'm so like
I don't know. There is maybe you could sell stuff that you've hunted. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think you can. So when you run out of money, you're fucked. So at the beginning of the game, I can't even imagine being not the banker and having less money, and then you fucking. So you pick the doctor, you have no money, and then you buy exactly what the old man at the beginning of the game tells you to buy. You have no more supplies, and then by day 4, you're out of food, and it's like, well, now what do we fucking do? Well, we better go hunting. I can't. I spent all my money on bullets because he told me I needed to buy, or I spent all my money on clothes because he said I need to have at least 2 sets per. I know maybe we're being a little hard on a stupid educational video game, but that's the name of Remember the Game. What's that?
Yeah.
That's
it's not fair to compare it to later games, but also kind of fuck Oregon Trail.
It's so cheap. It's just and I feel like I say that a lot when I'm playing old video games. If I'm playing Sonic and I die because I run into spikes that I didn't even see because I was running so fast, I'm like, that's fucking cheap. And if I
that always pisses me off about Sonic. It's always go fast, go fast, go fast, spikes, and you're like, fuck, you could have told me there were spikes.
That's why Sonic kind of sucks. But I could.
I'm gonna take it slow. Yeah.
But I could do. But that said, if you were like, "Hey Adam, you've been sitting in class for 4 hours. Would you like to go play 20 minutes of Sonic?" I'd be like, "Fuck yes, I would." And that's basically what this is.
Do you want to go play the ET game for the Atari? I'd be like, I fucking guess.
Yeah, and that's what Oregon Trail was. It was just a fucking excuse to go do something else. And dude, there's a card game of this out now, a modern tabletop card game of Oregon Trail. And
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Well, you would think so, but my buddy Chris bought it and brought it to my place once, and we were playing it. And it's just, I swear to God, you guys, it's just like the computer game. Just random shit happens. You just pick up, there's cards in the game, because basically you take a step on the trail, then you pick up a card, and then and it could be hey, you found 20 pounds of food, or it could be you got a disease or whatever. I swear to God, there are cards in the deck to this game that just said you died. That's all it is. So you're playing, and then all of a sudden you pick up a card, and you're like, you died. And I'm like, well, this is the cheapest pile of shit. And by the end of the game...
worse than the game. At least the game gives you some sort of warning about your imminent death.
Exactly! And by the end of the card game, you're so fucked it's not even funny. And I was like, well, this is way stupider than the original game, because at least the original game is fair. And I was playing it yesterday, and I'm like, this is only moderately more fair than the card game. Because, dude, do you remember another thing you can do is decide how much everyone in your group can eat? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
There's 3 options to pick how you ration your food. And one is they eat until they're content. One is they eat just enough to stay alive. And one is they're basically, 2 little nibbles a day, and that's all they could eat. And when I was playing it the other day, I was out of money, and I was so close to being out of food, and I refused to play the hunting mini game again because it sucks. So all I did was I set the food down to the minimum, and then I set our pace at the maximum, so you cover more miles but with less food. And everyone in my group is fucking dying. And I was
of
like,
course people die if you're going to do that.
I know, but I was just like, as I'm sitting on my couch playing this game on my laptop, in my head, I'm Hoju sitting at the front of my wagon with the 2 ropes, like, whatcha, like steering these ox. And the rest of my family behind me is like, Dad, we're starving. Give us something to eat. And I was like, no, fucking die. I hope you all fucking die. Fuck this stupid. You know, like, he's just staring. If you all die, now there's 35 pounds of food for me. Like, it's just.
How much do these kids weigh? That's how much food we have.
And then when you reach the end of the trail, you have to like choose a couple of options. I don't remember what you do. You can either go to like a fort or you can go somewhere else. But I decided to go to like this fort or something. And then you fucking load your wagon up on a raft, and then you have to steer a raft down a river around rocks. Do you remember? You don't remember it?
I don't remember that part. But again, like, I played this game a month ago. I feel like I should.
Well, but you might have picked the other if you picked the other option, maybe you don't ride it on this river. Well, I picked the one where you go down this river, and it like, honestly, it was the funnest part of the game because it was like just steering left and right, dodging rocks, and I'm like, all right, this is a video game, fuck yeah. And then I got to the end of the river, and then it was like, congratulations, you made it. And then it gave me a score of like 1,200 points, and then they showed the top 10 scores, and they're all like 60,000 or something, and I was like, oh. So
who's the person who's who's the fucking nerd who has the high score in Oregon Trail?
Well, I think they're like programmed in, like they're just the developers. You know what I mean? Like the preset scores. But I was like, who the fuck is good enough at this to get 60,000? I got all my kids and fucking Karen to this fort with 4 oxes to spare, and I got 1,200 points compared to your 60,000. Did you like take a jet? Like, how the fuck did you get here with 60,000 points? What a stupid fucking video game. You can rest whenever you reach stops, and I don't even know what resting does. Maybe it fixes illnesses. I don't fucking.
I imagine it boosts your stamina or something.
Dude, there's got to be so many people listening to this that are like, oh, I fucking totally played that in school. And now we're talking about it, and some of them probably don't even remember it like you and I didn't until we replayed it. And some of you guys probably do remember this game, and you're like, this doesn't sound very fun at all. Guess what? It probably wasn't. You just didn't have to sit listening to Shakespeare like apparently Mark fucking did when he was a kid.
It was that you didn't have an option. They were like, play this video game or else. And you're like, all right.
Mm-hmm. I suppose. I really don't feel like it taught me. The only thing this game taught me is that I never want to try to go across the United States of America in the back of a wagon.
Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway. Like, the game should just be called, This Is Why We Have Cars.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that is part of what they were trying to teach, is just how fucking hard it was. But like it just
you can get there like in an afternoon. This took months for people.
Yeah. It just like it went from fucking at the beginning of the game when I started out, I was getting like 1 or 2 bad things like, oh, so and so broke his arm, and I was like, yeah, okay, well, he's a stupid kid. Yeah, he broke his arm. But then like by about halfway through the game, it literally like my ox would take 1 step, and then it was like lost in the woods, lose 3 days, and then take a step. Karen's lost, lose 4 days looking for her. A thief stole 30 pounds of your food. Now your wagon wheel is broken. Try to fix it. And I said, yes. You can't fix it. You want to use another wagon wheel? And I was like, you're not even giving me, like, what if I said no? Then what? Do we just sit here and die in the fucking woods?
I think it would be like you've tried to go on with a broken wagon wheel, and now you're dead.
Yeah. Because that's the other thing, is when you would die, it would show these graves.
Like, yeah, that was the most morbid part. It'd be like, because then they'd play like the do.
Yeah,
and then you just keep going.
How the fuck was this? Like, how are little kids allowed to play this? Can you imagine if you never went camping in your life, and then you played this game, and then your parents were like, "Come on, we're going camping this summer." You'd be like, "I don't want to fucking. I've played Oregon Trail. I know what's about to happen." How many pounds?
We better bring some extra wagon wheels.
Yeah, how many pounds of food have we bought? It's only 20 cents each. Buy a whole bunch. Oh, fuck. What a dumb game. I This is either the best or worst episode of this show ever produced because this is the stupidest video game we've ever talked about. But there's something...
It's barely a video game, but it's still kind of a video game.
You know what, man? Like, to me, that's the thing about it, Mark, is when I went into like Reddit and stuff I didn't say like I have a podcast, we're going to talk about this game. I just was wondering, hey, dude, I was like, does anyone else remember this? And I asked about this, I asked about Number Munchers, and I asked about Dino Park Tycoon. And not a lot of people mentioned Dino Park. A few people remember Number Munchers, but it really, like, Oregon Trail is in the video game.
Dino Park.
What's that?
I love Dino Park.
Oh, buddy, we're going to get into that in a second because I fucking love that game. But Oregon Trail, like, there is a reason it's in the Video Game Hall of Fame, apparently, and 65 million copies. Everybody from our generation played this game in school. I didn't realize it was that big. I really didn't. Like,
well, like, think about the number of computers that it was on.
Yeah, I suppose. And this was back, like, I remember taking computers when we were kids, and, like, they never taught us anything good. Like, they didn't really teach us how to type, or it was either play with paint as we got a little bit older, or in the early days with those green screened fucking brick computers, it was just play these stupid games. Yeah,
that's what I played Oregon Trail on.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Just like the old Apples with no mouse.
Yeah, like I really don't get what it was supposed to teach us, but like, I don't know, man. When you suggested this game, I reacted the same way a lot of people reacted in the Reddit threads and stuff when I asked about it. Everybody's like, oh my God, dude, I totally played that. Like even non-gamers played Oregon Trail in school because you fucking had to. So this is a great suggestion by you, Mark. It's such a stupid game, but fucking great call, man. Like, fuck me.
Definitely clinches my return to the Hall of Fame, I think.
Oh, don't count your chickens, sir. You still have a long trail to go, so a thief might still steal your votes.
Trails where, like, I just randomly break down and lose the wagon wheel and fucking Bridget dies for no reason. If you
fucking Bridget. If you guys think that we have not done Oregon Trail justice, I'm telling you seriously, just Google it. There's like a website where you can just go play all these games for free on your computer and stuff. And you'll play it once. Because I'll be honest with you, Mark, when I found that website, I was like, dude, fuck yeah, I can play Oregon Trail. And I played it once yesterday. It took me 15 minutes. And I was like, all right, well, I'm never playing that again. Like, I'm good. It's fuck no.
I played through it twice, and I died both times. And then I watched a YouTube tutorial of somebody doing it well.
But you know what's funny, Mark, about this game is just like how when you were a kid and you were in class for hours and then you were allowed to go play this. If I was stuck at like a fucking, I don't know, what's something crappy that I don't want to be at? Like a fucking family reunion or something. What'd you say? A church?
Church.
Yeah, okay. Like if I'm somewhere where I'm like, I don't really want to fucking be here. And they were like, hey, you could either just literally sit here and just play along with everybody else and just do what everybody else is doing, or there's an old piece of shit computer over there in the corner. You could go sit there and play Oregon Trail. I would be like, fuck yeah, I'll go play some Oregon Trail. Like it's like, it just that's what this game was designed for, was to get people out of boring things.
So like, but like when compared to like when we wake up now, we just have a limitless option every day of games we can play. We have like 30 years of shit in our house that anytime we can just like, and at no point does anyone be like, you know what, I think Oregon Trail today.
Yeah, no, never. Fuck me.
This is a nostalgia game and a nostalgia game only.
Yeah, but that said, Mark, like that, I don't know if we've covered a game on this show that better fits what I wanted it to be when I launched it than Oregon Trail. When I'm like, hey guys, we're going to talk about Oregon Trail, people are like, I remember that game. And I hope that's the reaction we're getting this week, because that's the way that is the first time that I've reacted like that since we started the show, where one of you guys suggested a game and I like freaked out over the nostalgia and was like, oh my God, yes. Like, so well done.
I remember that shit.
I don't want you back in the hall. But we'll see what people, because you don't deserve it for Mario's missing.
Okay, who is in this hall?
Right now, just Bubsy.
Just Bubsy.
Because I love Bubsy. That's it. Nobody else.
All right, well, as long as Brad's not in there, I'm fine.
Oh, no. I mean, someday he'll go in just to spite you, but not yet. Okay, so do you have any more thoughts on this fucking thing before we scored, and then I want to talk Dino Park for a second.
I don't know if there's much more that we could say about it.
I can't believe we got this much out of it.
Yeah, it's a text-based game. It fucks with you a lot.
Yeah.
Fuck this game, but also, hey, this is a cool game when we had to play it.
Oh man, just fucking nostalgia. Even when I was playing it, I was like, oh my god, it felt weird typing it on like my MacBook on the really skinny little.
You're like sleek and expensive MacBook.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, we're not built for this. Man, we can play actual games. You know that, right?
Yeah. Do you remember the buttons on like the computers you'd play fucking Oregon Trail on? Those buttons were like 1.5 inches high. Like it took a good second for the button to reach the bottom of the keyboard and register. Like, anyway.
You'd hit it, and then it would always, like, the loading screen would always come up and be like, 1 moment, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay, how do we score this fucking thing? You know what? Okay, so Oregon Trail has sold 65 million copies. So on a scale of 1 to 65 million, what would you score the original Oregon Trail?
I'm going to give it a 40 million out of 65 million.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because, like, at the time, it was a great game, but it didn't age well.
I think I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8? Like, numerically? Is this the number 8?
Yeah, just a singular 8.
Million?
I think an 8 out of 65 million.
It was a 0.5% or something.
Yeah, no, 8. Yeah, no. I think 8 out of 6, because I think you have to be 8 or under to really enjoy this game.
Okay, that's a fair score then.
Yeah, so 8. In all seriousness, I don't know, probably like 30. I don't know, like 50%. It's fine. Like it's, if I didn't play it as a kid, dude, there are retro games, Mark, that you could give to like a young gamer now and be like, dude, you should try this. This is one of the games we play. Like, the original Super Mario Brothers is the one that just pops in my mind. If I took like my nephew Tony, who's like 5, and I was like, dude, you should play. This is what we played when I was your age in the original Super Mario Brothers. I'm not saying he would love it, but I think he would be like, oh, this is like a game. Like, this is kind of fun.
This makes sense. Like, you get kind of the idea of Super Mario Brothers.
Right. I don't know if I would give him Oregon Trail and be like, this is what I played at school when I was your age, because he would be like, well, this sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. It's a Hall of Famer.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. So that's Oregon Trail, you guys. Now, quickly, before we go, there's already going to be a poll up about whether or not Mark should be allowed back in the Hall of Fame. That's the more important poll. But when Mark suggested Oregon Trail, the other game he suggested was Dino Park Tycoon. And just quickly, Mark, in 30 seconds or less, give us a quick rundown of what Dino Park Tycoon is.
Jurassic Park.
Like the G version.
Yeah,
like
that's all it is. You run a Jurassic Park.
It was like a business simulation game where you built a dino park. And
it was supposed to teach you about like money management and like how employees and taxes, payroll, all that shit works.
Yeah.
But you were running a dinosaur theme park.
And it was like, because I'll tell you guys, listen, that game is on the same website as Oregon Trail. If you Google them, you'll find them there. Oregon Trail, you could play once, like I said, 10 minutes, refresh your mind, and be like, I'm done. Dino Park Tycoon is still fun. Like, if I could buy that game on my Switch for $10 right now, I would buy it for $10 on my Switch. Like, that game is fucking rad. But when I posted on...
easily.
What's that?
Easily would spend $10 on it.
No,
and
yeah.
The thing is, I've been asking about this game for years, and I think you're one of the first people that I've ever met that's like, yeah, I've played that game.
Yeah, when I posted about on social media, I literally went out of my way to say, hey, did anyone else grow up playing Dino Park Tycoon? Not a lot of people replied. When I put it on Reddit, a lot of people were like, no, I played Oregon Trail. So Mark and I were going to do an episode of the show about Dino Park Tycoon, but I don't want to cover it on the show if nobody has played it other than Mark and I.
Anyone except us played this game.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for a second poll. I'm going to post 2. Does Mark belong back in the Hall of Fame on the shoulders of Oregon Trail? What's that?
Hashtag Mark 2020.
Oh, fuck. And 2, do you want a Dino Park Tycoon episode? And we won't be offended if not, but these things take a lot of time, and I don't want to waste my time in a week of the show. As it is, when I put up an episode about a lesser-known game, I see a decrease in my downloads, which I don't really sweat, but I feel bad for people that are like excited about it, and then they're like, oh, I don't care about that game. So I don't want to do one about an educational game that we played as kids if nobody else fucking played it. So I'm gonna put the poll up there. I really do want to know if you guys played Dino Park and you want an episode about it. I am more than happy to fucking do an episode about Dino Park Tycoon. As is Mark. He's as excited about it as me. So, good stuff, Mark. Fucking great suggestion. I don't think this should get you back in the hall myself, but it's not up to me. It's up to the people because it's their hall. Should Mark McHugh be back in the Hall of Fame? Please let us know. Is there anything you would like to say to the masses before I shut this thing down?
I'm just counting on them to do the right thing.
We all know what the right thing is. If you don't know, go back and listen to episode 88. Listen to Mario is Missing, and then let your heart choose, okay? Like, think about it. Mark, thanks for doing this ridiculous episode. Yeah, good stuff, buddy. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Mark, thank you for coming. Or no, you didn't come over. Thanks for calling me and talking Oregon Trail. Fucking great suggestion. And like I mentioned off the top, here's a couple of things, you guys. I have some questions for you. Mark thinks this was a good enough suggestion to get him back into the Remember the Game Hall of Fame. And he also wants to talk Dino Park Tycoon, which if you didn't play it, it's like a business simulation game we played in school with Oregon, where you build like a G-rated, not like a gangster G, but like a PG-13, a G-rated Jurassic Park where nobody really dies. I loved that game. So I would love to do an episode about it, but I posted on a few different forums and social medias asking if people played Dino Park Tycoon, and it didn't get very much love. So check out our Twitter, check out our Facebook, and I'll put it in our Instagram story as well. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Remember the Game or Facebook.com/Remember the Game. I'm going to run 2 polls, and I need to know what you guys think. Should Mark get back into the Hall of Fame for suggesting Oregon Trail? And do you want a review of Dino Park Tycoon? There's no wrong answers. I just want to give you people what you want. I want to make the show as good as I can for you guys. Quickly on that note, remember for quite a while I've been teasing that we're going to start revisiting some of the old games we talked about in the early days of the episode because I'm not happy with the quality of those episodes. Keep your eyes peeled because those might be coming. The first one of those may be coming quite soon as well. So that is going to do it for this week's episode, you guys. Expansion Pass this Sunday will be my look back on the first half of 2020. It's only $2 a month on Patreon. It'll get you that, lots of old episodes, all the new episodes, and you can vote in our game poll for July, which is running until July 8th. Go check that out at patreon.com/Remember the Game, or find a full listing of all the Expansion Pass episodes at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Cheers. Remember the Game is brought to you by you, our Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this show wouldn't exist. And I want to take a minute and just thank all of our Patreon supporters so much for backing the show like they have. Adam Anderson, Alex Martinez, Andre, Andrew Castro, Andrew Halipchuk, Andrew Wright, Andy Baker, April Sane, Bader Barhumi, I'm sorry, Bader, I probably fucked that up, Ben Bulyu, Ben Busha, Ben Drinkin, Bevins Girls, Brian McKay, Bullfrog, Charlie M, Chris Fleury, Chris Wilson, Corey, Dave McGee, Desert Tortoise, Duhow, Doug Dorn, Dustin L, Dylan, Eric Kennard, Evan Refuse, Fraser Burns, Gary C, Jin and Chris, James Clark, Jason Adams, Jason Cortez, Jeffrey Mathis, Joe Buck, Joe Gillespie, Joe Mack, John Taylor, Jordan, Josh Morgan, Josh Shenfield from Press Start to Join, Kate Roberts, Casey Rarick, Keegan Wilson, Kevin Donlin, Kevin Hufford, Cryptovics, Kyle Paul, Lane Orr, Lord Egbert, Luca Reskini, I fucked that up, Mark McHugh, Mark209, Matt Brown, Matthews Kids, Michael Mathis, Movie Epidemic Podcast, Nathan W., Nick Sills, Ol MF, I love saying it like that, Rex, Robert Fuchsia, Robert L., Rome21, Ryan White, Scott, Shaylee, Sean P., Sean Razine, Sharonic, Slick Rick, Stupid Monkey, Todd, Tony, Tyler, Vladstein, the Yaremko Boys, Dan T, and Aaron Kupal. Thank you all so much for supporting the show, you guys. I really, really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you again on Sunday.